Thank you everyone for hopping on to this episode of Mission Human Excellence. This is interview episode number 1 with Veronica. So thank you for hopping on with me. It's been this is this is gonna be good. I know it's gonna be good.
Well,
So
of course it's going to be good. And of course I'm your number one and the first one to be
well, it only makes
interviewed.
sense, right? Because I mean, you and I've been through the whole entire book called "The Grace of Cancer" together, and then
Yes.
we're still working on different things, but we'll talk about that. But
Right.
so, um, shall we just dive in? I just want to ask you a question first, right? This podcast is called Mission Human Excellence. So I wanted to
Well,
ask you
can I
what
just first say
okay.
congratulations on this
Oh,
on your podcast.
thank you.
You actually beat me. Wasn't I supposed to have my own podcast before started yours? But I'm enjoying my life here way too much. So maybe next year, but kudos to you. Good
Well,
for
thank
you
you.
that you have it.
Thank
And
you.
so, now I'm starting to think about it again.
Look, and it's something that's in my heart, right? I want to bring a lot of excellence, people who have built excellence, who have done excellent things together, and just promote this message of excellence out there, right? So first off, B, what does it mean for you to be excellent in something, or what does that word excellent mean for you?
Wow. God, for me, I think that changes every day.
Uh-huh.
And I think I've become so much kinder to myself, that, you know, it's less of a pressure. Excellent before used to mean being hard on myself,
Mm-hmm.
being this perfect person in whatever role I was playing,
Yeah.
even being your boss,
Right.
right? And now living a new life in Europe, I am excellent just waking up and smiling.
Yeah.
you
No,
know
it's that's good.
and
That's good.
and so, I think you can be excellent in just the simplest things, and if you're at peace
Hmm.
with that, you're excellent. Because
Yeah.
I think the ultimate goal for all of us is to be at peace. And so for as long as I'm at peace, I feel like I'm being excellent in whatever it is that I'm being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to do, because then I'm also being good to other people.
Yeah.
So anything. I mean, it's the simplest thing. Getting up in the morning, taking my time. I've become excellent at that. Not rushing myself,
I gotta learn that
learning,
from you.
right? Not expecting too much of myself in a way,
Hmm.
but knowing that I can also push myself when need be. But learning how to like allocate my energy in the right time at the right place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think cancer has taught me that.
Hmm.
Right now my energy is focused on me being healthy, and you know and the rest is just, for me, I'm just having fun, and I'm excellent at having fun, and that.
This is why you're number one. Like you're excellent at the things that you put your hands on, right?
Yes, yes,
If you wanted to do something, there's a spirit of excellence in you, and there's like everything that we did together, right back when we were writing the books, when we were building things together. There's a level, there's a standard that we set for ourselves, and like
right.
nothing short of that standard is acceptable, right? The standard is simply just the excellence of the level of excellence. We gotta hit that. Just working
It's a
with you through the
decision,
books and all that
right?
stuff. Yeah.
Right, it's a decision that you make, right? And
Hmm.
once again, it's a decision that you make. It's who you are, right? Because you define that excellence. It's who you are. Because I, you know, I I like doing good things, right? I like doing good work. And to me, I put a lot of effort into, as you know, into everything that I like to do, and everything that I do. And and that could be making juice, and that can be,
Yeah.
doing anything, like I said,
Yeah.
in the simplest things. So, but now I don't try to do 10 things in an hour. I'm happy with doing one thing in an hour. I don't
Absolutely.
measure myself anymore, or I don't measure my excellence, in how many things I do in a day anymore. No, I really don't anymore. So,
Hmm.
and I'm good with that. So, excellence is, you got to be happy with and I think, once again, it's where you are in your life. And that's why I said to you, it changes every day.
Yep.
And you got to be okay with that,
Yep.
because I can switch gear, and that's what's important in life, is to be able to switch gear.
Yeah.
Because,
Absolutely.
once again, cancer has taught me that, is I have to have several gears.
Hmm.
I enjoy my life very different when I have gotten a clean scan. I'm on that fun part of my life. And
Right.
then, once I have to get a scan again, I'm in a different mode, right? I'm in a work mode again. So you got to go with just the flow. And that's why you got to live in the moment.
Right. It's different situations, different circumstances calls for different things, right? So that's what I hear from you, and just give everybody a little background, right? Um, Veronica, it was stage 4 lung cancer the first time, right? It was metastatic
2016,
to the left side of the body, right?
right.
The second time was 20, what is it?
Two-
2021,
2016 and 2021, November
2021,
2021, right. Tumor
stage
in my
4
brain.
twice.
Yeah,
Um,
tumor in my brain, 7 on my liver, and 2 on my chest. Got
right.
rid of that too. Then I moved to
Yep.
Portugal.
Yep. And now you're living
Now
your
I'm living the
um,
life,
living life.
cancer
But
free.
the two times that you got rid of this disease in your body, I know my grandpa died from lung cancer, right? So I know how. I remember when I was little. I remember slightly like um, how it was weak for him, and he just didn't want to fight, right? So what gave you that spirit to keep fighting? What was that switch for you to be like, I'm gonna kick cancer in the behind?
Right. Again, it goes back to making a decision,
Absolutely.
right? You
Yep.
have you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision to live,
Hmm.
right? And for me, and you have to make a decision to live what kind of a life, right? If you
Right.
hate your life, your dying would be much of an easier thing to do, right? Because you don't like your life, so okay, dying is probably what you want to do.
Hmm.
I didn't, I didn't want to die. I, I, I had so many other plans that I wanted to fulfill, and I wanted to, I wanted to live. And I really, I had so many dreams, unfulfilled dreams, and so I chose to live. And not only did I choose to live, but I had a vision of how I wanted to live. And I
Hmm.
think that's important. If you know that, one, you choose to live, second, you have a vision of what that life is going to be like, and you're excited about that, your cells, your entire body, your entire being are all listening to that. And
Right.
there is a mind and body connection. And when your cells are on board with you, and I really believe in that, once again, there's the word believe, they listen to you. you
Yep.
know, and I believe with God's help and with all other things that I've done, obviously, I mean, you know, you have to embrace a healthy lifestyle the way I did it. And I don't take that lightly. As you know, you saw me, you witnessed, you know, you were working with me. And
Of
I
course.
mean, I live and breathe living healthy,
Hmm.
you know, and so you got to do everything and anything if you want to live. And I didn't take that. When I make a decision to do something, I don't take it lightly.
Hmm.
I do everything from A to Z, and I don't cut corners, as you know. You've
Right.
witnessed me do, right? And God knows you can't
Yeah.
cheat. Okay. I mean, there's accountability. Okay.
Absolutely.
There's somebody there watching when you're saying, I really want to live, and I promise you, I'm going to do everything I can. You'll watch me, and he's
Yep.
watching, and I am doing, not only am I promising, I am doing
Yeah.
everything, and I continue to do that. So that's why I believe I'm still alive as well, you know?
Hmm.
And so you got to decide. But decision is nothing without actions.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that is important. And consistency, you know, and a lot of people go through it and then they stop, right? As soon as they're clean, then they forget about it. No,
Yep.
one thing cancer has reminded me, especially the second time, is this has to become your lifestyle. It's not an option. It's
Hmm.
not a luxury. It's it's the way of being. It's the way your life is going to have to be. It's just the way it is. You don't
Yeah.
question it, and I don't anymore. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity, you
Right.
know.
And
And
you,
honestly, it's a blessing because a lot of people would see it as a punishment, like, oh
yeah.
my God, you're
Oh
so
yeah.
deprived or whatever,
Hmm.
you don't drink. I'm like, really? I'm like, I'm thinking, and you are blessed because you're intoxicating your body with alcohol, and you're thinking I'm depriving myself of alcohol. No, it's the other way around. It's a blessing that I'm actually not drinking because my liver is not being,
Yeah.
what do you call this, poisoned by alcohol.
Yeah. Right.
So again, our mind has been so tricked and brainwashed, and we've normalized so many toxic
Hmm.
um, concepts,
Yep.
and that is just all of that needs to be so unlearned, and you really, you know I'm going to say something that most people are not going to like, but I don't really care because I'm not here to be well liked. um, when you get to a peaceful stage in your life, and when you get to a stage where you don't care what people think, and because you have become in a way unpopular, or become so different from the rest of the world because you become an oddball. And sometimes I
Yeah.
am, most of the time, an oddball.
Yep.
Okay.
That's okay.
Because I do many things that most people will not do or can't
Yep.
handle.
Yep.
And I
That's right.
become a trigger to them because they look at me like I I'm a mirror to them because I'm someone that they cannot possibly do because they I remind them of what they should be doing, whether that's not eating sugar, whether that's not drinking, whether that's, whatever, right? So when you get to
Yep.
a point in your life where you have peace, you realize, unfortunately, that most of the world is sick. And what do I mean by that? It's sad. What do I mean by that? Sick of anger, sick of
Hmm.
hatred, sick of jealousy, you know, which is really, really, really sad, you know. And that's why sometimes I feel that's why we all have to learn to be compassionate,
Yes.
because and that's where I say, okay, not everybody's in the same level. And I don't say this with arrogance whatsoever. I say this with a lot of humility because once again, Wow, I called my book The Grace of Cancer because it is has given me the grace, because it has given me so many gifts. It's given me another sense that most people don't have.
Mm.
You know, by being this oddball, by I have, and by have giving me this peace, you know, but it's also a lonely world, right? But
Yeah,
if
it
you
could
were
be.
to ask me, do I join the sick world, or do I join, do I just remain where I am? I choose to remain where I am. And I have a
Yeah.
few friends that are truly, truly my friends who understand where I am in my life, and who are in a very similar journey as I am, who are walking, the same path, but not where I am, but at least understand.
Yeah.
I mean, like you, for example. And that's why I applaud you. I applaud especially young people who are walking that path.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, First off, there's so much there to unpack, right? Um, but let's first thing is let's tell everybody the story where the book title came from, how it came from, because I
You were
remember that
there.
moment vividly. I remember that moment vividly, and you scared the living crap out of me. Uh, so like just tell it on your side, and I'll fill in on my side afterwards. Like how that book title came from, how that book title came about.
I mean, I think in the beginning, I wanted to name my book Cancer Was the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me.
Right.
And then someone told me that it was way too long.
Yeah.
And then, Howard, a very good friend of mine, said,
Mm-hmm.
Sweetie, that's not very nice because it's not the best thing that ever happened to you. Don't say that, because he was just so hurt. You know how Howard is like
Yeah.
my father. He's
Right.
like, that's not true. I never wanted you to have cancer. So I couldn't really use that. So I was
Right.
like looking for something. And then I just ran across, like, I was sitting down, as I was typing
Yeah.
away, writing the
Yep.
book, and you were
Yep.
like transcribing.
Yeah. We
And
were
then all of a
working.
sudden I was like, oh my God, oh my God. I was like, that's it, the grace of cancer. And I'm like,
But
grace, because grace is something. So I'm like, grace, I said, grace is something that wasn't like, you didn't ask for it, it was just
yeah.
given to you. I didn't ask for cancer, but it was just given to me. It's not like I deserve it. It wasn't a punishment. It wasn't karma. It's just grace. It's just there. It was given to you.
Yeah.
So, and then I just thought, and then later on, then I remember going outside in my garden, and I called
Yeah.
Gigi. And I called Gigi. I called Lauren, and I
Yeah.
told her my title. Right? I
Yeah.
shared it with my best friend. Um, oh my God, the grace of cancer, lessons in humility and greatness. And I love that because it really
Except for the fact that you didn't say, "Oh my God," you went, "Oh my God,"
has.
right? It was such an exciting moment. Like I remember just working there, right? Yeah, what I was doing exactly. I was typing away at something. And I was just sitting there typing away. I think it was like pretty late in the evening, around like 8 o'clock or so. I was typing away. I was clicking. I remember it vividly. I was like, "Cool. I can take a
Edward,
breather here, and then let me type. Let me just go this again, right?" And as soon as I feel like as soon as I took a breath, started typing again, you went, "Woo!" I'm like, "No."
how long ago was that? Wait,
Uh,
five?
that book came out 2018, right?
No,
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 2020. No, but
2020.
we were working in 2019 at that point. So,
Yes,
oh, wow,
5 years
5 years.
ago. five
Wow.
years. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So that book,
He,
the book is still out on Amazon. So
yes.
it's a great book. In my humble biased opinion, it's a great book. but
Yeah.
um,
No, no, no. I
everyone
mean,
should be going there and reading about it.
yeah, no, and it's not just for cancer, it's preventative. I mean, I think that I think again, it's it's really the second title also um, sums it up. It's really lessons in humility and greatness.
Yeah.
Um, because when you're diagnosed with such a terminal disease, it robs you of everything that you're so attached with about yourself.
Mm,
And so you can only learn humility at that point. And what I've learned, and this is not to like pat myself in the back, but you talk about excellence, you talk about, you know, how to learn to be excellent, but that's also how to learn to be great. You don't learn to be great without pain.
mm,
Greatness is formed or built by being in pain. And there is no commander in chief, or there is no great warrior that who has not gone through pain and come back and and survive, not only survived it, but when can go through it again, and
yeah.
and came out of it stronger and has shown you grace. And I believe I've gone through that not once but twice,
Hmm.
and I continue to live and show people. And I hope that that's what I do in my Instagram, is show people, don't fucking let this disease destroy you.
Yeah.
Okay, you got diagnosed. Guess what? Cancer is a metabolic disease. Metabolic treatment will take care of it.
Hmm.
Get busy.
Get
It is
busy.
an everyday disease. Read The Grace of Cancer. Get in touch with me. You can figure this out. Don't
Right.
panic. I know it's counterintuitive. Trust me, I had a tumor in my brain, 7 in my liver, 2 on my chest. Did I panic? Did I ever, ever, ever panic?
Uh, I don't think you ever panicked, but you were definitely in a state where you want to express a lot of emotions of like, okay, this is happening again, but I want to fight this, right?
Right.
There was a lot of this. Yes, it's happening again, but
I was
I gotta.
focused.
I'm fighting this.
Right. Yes. So
It wasn't
you
any
gotta
panic.
no, you gotta channel your energy and focus on getting. You have to work. You have to work. It's
Yeah.
work. Research. I do. That's what I do. Aside from taking care of my body, taking care of my mind, I study.
Hmm.
I'm meeting doctors here. That's
Hmm.
all I do, is I am rebuilding my resources here. Oh my
Yeah.
God. This morning, guess what I did first thing at 9 a.m.? Hyperbaric for
Oh,
1 hour.
that's nice.
Yes, I do hyperbaric
Yeah.
1 hour. So I'm like, I'm in Europe, a year and a half. I have my team of people now here.
Hmm.
I am determined. Nothing is impossible.
Yep.
Nothing. If you really again, like you said, you decide, you take actions. You really do. And there are so many resources out there. And now with Instagram and with so many, just you have to follow the right people on Instagram. I think
Yep.
that's key. There's a lot of
Very.
garbage out there. Instagram can be such a resource. Oh my God, I follow great people. There are some great people on Instagram that I swear, but there are some crappy people too. But like everything else in life, you gotta squeeze take out the good stuff,
Yep.
and be opportunistic. So I really believe that, once again, you gotta believe, you gotta want to live, and you gotta be determined,
Yeah.
relentless.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's a lot of it. I see a lot of it when we were working together. I see a lot of it the same time around when things didn't really go the way it needs to go. Um, I see a lot of it right now where like you go out there in Europe and you start building your team behind you, like so you can support the things that you need to support, and I feel like that didn't just come from nowhere, right? I know it didn't come from nowhere. I know before this you were living a life of like consistency, determination, like that. Those were definitely there before, and you channeled it into a different space, right? So, um, am I?
Yeah, look, when you talk about excellence, right? I
Hmm.
mean, and you apply that in just in everything that you do, because once again, I think that um life is about being consistent, right?
Hmm.
I think life is not that complicated, because I think if you there's a formula that you can use almost throughout the way in every aspect of your life. It's not that complicated. So what you do for this, you can do for that for this as well. Okay?
Yeah.
So I know that. So if I apply it in here, I also apply it here. So as a person, when I had cancer and I knew that I made a promise a second time that I would move here, and people always thought, oh, people thought, oh, oh my God, you're crazy. Why are you doing that? You had cancer. Why would you do that? All your doctors are in the US, da 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 da. I mean, you know, I'm in my 50s. I moved here not knowing anybody, but I also knew that this would be a better environment for me, right?
Hmm.
And I also knew that I needed to be stimulated. And that's crazy because I'm like stimulated. Yeah, but I needed my creative juice, and I needed to just, I don't know, I felt like I belonged here. And I was right. I really, like I said, I felt like I had been living this way all my life, but in the wrong country, the US. Not until I lived here did I realize that, right? So I
Yeah.
feel very much at home here. I will never leave Europe. I will always stay here. I feel so much at home here. So, and that's why I I really believe that part of being excellent is challenging yourself,
Hmm.
not rooting yourself. Always being inquisitive, always
Yeah.
inquiring, always like being curious, because you have to grow. You're not going to be excellent if you're not going to grow, right? And most people who have been diagnosed with cancer twice, especially like I got rid of the tumors, in 2022.
Hmm.
I left for Europe in 2022, September 2022, after I did my taxes. And I
Yeah.
moved to Europe February 2023. You know, like I didn't waste any time.
Right.
Time, time, people think that's a problem, is that we all think that we have so much time. That is the worst assumption you can ever make, is that we all have time. Just because you're young, it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed another birthday. Okay, that is like, as harsh as that may sound, that is the that is the truth. I hope you have a lot more
Yeah.
birthdays. Okay, but the truth is you are not guaranteed that. Okay,
No.
so
Absolutely not.
right. So because of that, why the hell are you not, why are we all thinking that we do have this time to just waste, really? And that, again, thanks to the grace of cancer, I don't have that. I feel like
Right.
I have that. That's the luxury that I have, is that most people, most of you guys, waste your life. I don't really waste mine. You see, I actually
Yeah.
live my life to the fullest on a daily basis.
And I think
because
after, yeah,
because
I think
because I've
after
gone through
that,
to life, threatening, to death sentences.
yep, yep. I think after that, it's like, well, I've you've literally just faced all the all the doctors saying there's no way. You faced all these other people saying this is crazy, but you go through it anyways. And now on the other end, you're like, well, let's not be ignorant either, right? Like that it happened, like the cancer happened, and everybody's telling you only have got it like 6 months or whatever it is, right? So like, okay, life is precious at this point. You got through all of that stuff just to come out and waste your life. That's ridiculous, right? You go through all of that stuff, all of that, healing and all that stuff in the mental battles that you've had, right? And just to come out to say like, oh yeah, I'm good. I can just keep going on my old life. Like that sounds so ridiculous to me, right? It
Well,
just makes no
that's the
sense.
thing. That's the thing, is that, you can, the second time I was diagnosed, re-emphasized to me that it can happen the third time. Every time I go for my scan, the interpretation of my scans, they can tell me it came back,
Hmm.
right? And because of that, every time I walk out of there and after being told it's a clean scan, you can't imagine how I fucking milk those 3 months.
Yeah,
I I go out. I mean, like, I go on vacation. I live it up. It's like, Veronica, what do you want to do?
right,
If this was like the last 30, 90 days of your life, what is it that you want to do?
right. It's like,
I, you know, because guess what? If 90 days later they tell me I'm going to die, and if I actually die, no regrets. I'll be in that deathbed. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I fucking lived. I lived more than you guys all did.
praise God.
No?
Um, and it's like there's there's a saying, right? Live every day like it's your last, and you won't regret anything.
Yes.
There's not really a lot of people live that way, and like
You know,
you live that way,
oh, I totally, and this is why, I make no, in a way, no compromises. Like, I don't put up with shit. I mean, like, that's one thing, Edward, I don't do anymore. Like before, oh my God, I'll put up with, like, I'll be patient with, it's okay, or I'll tolerate stuff, whatever, even with people. No, I won't waste my time, like, with people that's going, I'm not going to give them a chance or anything like that. You know who I'm talking about, kind of thing, right? So like, I know, like, it's either you're on board or you're not on board.
right?
I don't have
Yeah,
time. You're on board or you're not on board. It's the same thing with opportunities. Like, are you like, I have, because I can do so many things here. So then I'm thinking, are you going to, like, what do you call this, are you going to stress me out? Is this opportunity going to stress me out? Are you going, is it going to sacrifice my freedom? Is it going to tie me down? If it's going to check all of that, I say no.
mm, mm,
you know is it going to, like, compromise my morning schedule? No. Oh, check, no. Then I say no, regardless of how juicy the opportunity is.
yeah,
And and you know what, I thank God I'm able to do that. But you also create that opportunity to be able to do
absolutely.
it, right?
Yep,
I've created my own opportunity to do that.
yep, absolutely.
you know and that is another part of excellence that I think, that's what I'm saying, is that there's so many kinds of excellence,
Yep,
right? And and that's why I say you have to create your own excellence, and you have to build that. And I feel like I've gotten to where I feel like I've done that, you know? And to me, if you were to ask me, for example, and it's funny because I was just talking to my son the other day, right? I said, the worst thing I've ever told you was to work hard,
Mm-hmm.
work your ass off. I said, don't ever do that. I take it back. I said, because that's once again, I was told that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even when I was praying, I said, God, but I worked so hard. Why am I being punished? Why am I? No, it's not that. I thought by working hard that I'm going to get this. No, it's not that. You got to work smarter.
Yep.
If you learn how to work smarter, it's better than working harder. It's the ones who know how to work smarter who get ahead in life. It's not the one who works harder. It's the one who works harder that I feel sorry for.
Mm. Yeah.
Because there's the
So
ones who work hard and they get left behind.
yeah, I mean, there's so many janitors that work hard. There's so many third shifts
Yes.
packing people that works
Yes.
hard. There's so many people
Right.
that are working hard but they're not getting ahead in life. Why is it,
Right.
right?
Right.
So working hard
Exactly.
can't be the only solution to the things that we want to do. So the other option is working smarter, working on the things that's actually going to get you move forward, move on, right? Move on forward in life, whatever it is. Um, whether
Yep.
it's like, hey, let's pause here and like regroup, figure out something in business to get us going, or like how can I create a podcast that bring other people together so I don't have to do as much work to promote this message of excellence, right? Or it's like, okay, cool, you're at a certain point in your career and you're like you want to move forward, okay, take work on a master's degree or something, right? Like things like that. Like work smarter in the things that actually that's going to move you forward, right? Not just
And
to
that's the other
work.
thing. That's the other thing. I mean, I'm not an advocate of you getting a master. You might as well go, there's YouTubes now, there's all kinds of different ways of educating yourself. I mean, if you just know who to follow, there are so many ways you can educate yourself online. That's far better than getting yourself a master's. These days, you don't need a master's. You just need to be educated a certain way and
Hmm.
have acquire certain skills. But again, I mean, I realized that, when I got sick the second time, that holy shit, you saw, I dropped everything. I didn't work. I was
Hmm.
like, no income. I was like,
Hmm.
wait a second, no income. I'm like, wait, what? So I had to get creative
Hmm.
once again. The grace of being unemployed. You replace the grace of everything, it
Yeah.
becomes flip it, because there is benefit to every negative situation, and I am so good at turning every single negative situation into an opportunity, because I
Mm.
have turned that around and made it into a positive thing, because now I because of that experience, it made me think like I will never do that kind of thing again where I am punching in, punching out.
Yeah.
Never
I feel
again. Because cancer came back, couldn't work. I had to take care of myself.
you. Hmm.
So I had to find another way to make money. And here I move, making just as much, if not more, but
Yeah.
I work 3, 4 hours a day.
Right. But okay,
That's excellent.
let's
That's excellent.
let's talk about that too, right? Like it, it's definitely a different environment over there in Portugal, right? Compared to the
Yes.
US. Uh, you lived in Los Angeles, which, it's in a way it's like, hey, all the healthy food is here, but all the unhealthy habits are also here. Um,
No, you know what? The healthy food, no. The healthy food is here.
okay.
The so-called, they say the healthy food. is there, okay? Not in comparison to here. Here, the food are not the regulations are very different. Here,
Yeah.
I don't have to buy organic food. They don't spray the food here with pesticide. Okay, here the what do you call this? The I mean, you should see like the celery doesn't look anything like the celery we have at home. Okay,
Yep.
the spinach doesn't look the same as the spinach over there. The eggs and everything. So it's not at all the same. So in the US, it's healthy. Yes, we have a lot more um, choices. Oh my God. Like 1,000 times more choices. I miss that.
Hmm.
I miss the variety. I miss the choices. But at the end of the day, that's just behavioral. That's just getting used to. Because at the end of the day, I have what I need here.
Yeah.
Do you know the US? We have too much. We're spoiled. It's gluttony. Here we have what we need. It's going back to basic. Here we're not spoiled, especially in Portugal. Portugal is a very it's a poor country.
Hmm.
It's going back to basic, and part of the reason why I picked Portugal is because of the people are so kind. Kindness is still, it exists. My God, my neighbors, except for my landlord here, but my neighbors here are very, very kind people. I get invited to their homes at least once a week for lunch. Okay. My neighbors in the US, not once in all my life, in
Yeah.
all my life, have I been ever invited to have a meal.
Yeah.
Here, once a week, to the point where sometimes I have to avoid them because it's like it's too much. Okay, so seriously, like if I ever like lock myself out, I could stay there with them. So that's how nice they are here.
Yeah.
People on the street, safety. So
Mhm.
food here is so much cheaper, 1/6. I'm telling you, 1/6 of the price. Like as today, I just came back from my the farmers market. My total grocery, this is for the entire week. This is for juicing for the entire week, was 87 euros. It's 87 and 70 something, 88 euros. So that's like 105 dollars.
Dollars.
All of
About
my
500
juicing
bucks here.
and all of everything with my fruit, strawberries, blueberries, everything,
Yeah.
lemon, ginger, everything. And that's all I need. And that includes my eggs. And here I eat eggs.
Hmm.
Okay. In the US, I would never. Have you seen me eat eggs in the US? Never. Here I eat eggs.
Very, very
Okay.
rarely.
Yeah. Here, I mean, like, so they don't poison their people here. That's the thing. They do not poison their people here. In the US, they do. I
Yeah.
mean, like the bread here, I eat bread here. I don't get bloated.
I hear the bread is very different the way they make it in Europe
Yeah, of
versus
course.
the
They,
way that
they
they
know
make it here.
everything, Edward, everything.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, there it's just there's a lot more choices, but there's also a lot more contamination, right? There's a lot more chemicals, you know. There's a lot of things in the US that are considered food that would never be considered food here. I mean,
That's
all of
interesting.
these like health bars and everything that would never pass here.
Interesting.
There's a lot of fake food in the US. Here, we don't have any of that. We don't snack here. This idea, nobody walks around with a beverage in their hands here. Nobody. Nobody, people would look at you. So, this
Oh.
habit of like walking around with a beverage doesn't, no, it goes away very quickly.
Mm.
So all of this, you actually sit down and have a coffee, you know, and coffee here is less than a euro,
Oh wow.
less than a euro. Okay.
It's not
So,
just like a random cup of coffee from a
no,
convenience store. It's a nice cup of
no,
coffee.
no, no, no. And good coffee, better
Yes.
than the US.
Right.
It's not Starbucks. And by the way, Starbucks is all coffee, by the way. It's got pesticides all over.
Oh yeah.
No, 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 it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
So no, it really is. So I'm telling you, so for a fraction of what I used to spend, I live like a queen here in terms of the way I eat, the standard of living. I don't have a car here. I Uber everywhere. Uber is inexpensive. Um, Everyone speaks English here. It is such an international place. There
Mm,
are a lot of Californians and New Yorkers here, but Portugal has become such an international. Everybody has moved here
mm,
from all over, also from Europe. There's a lot of French, huge community. The
mm-hmm.
UK people are also moving here, so it's definitely changing completely. And the
And
thing is, it's so central, and I've traveled so much out of. Last week I was in France, and the
uh-huh.
flight from Europe, from let's say from France, it's like 100 euros.
Oh.
And in 2 hours, 3 hours, you're in a different country eating different food. I mean, Rome, Spain is an hour and a half. In an hour and a half, you're eating paella. In
Mm-hmm.
2 hours, you're eating pasta. You're
Mm-hmm.
in Italy. It's amazing.
Yeah. And let's also not forget, one of the other reasons you moved to Portugal is because the nomad society over there, right?
Yes, huge. Crypto.
Yeah.
Crypto is huge here.
Crypto is huge, and nomads
Huge.
are all there. They're working on projects over there, and they've become
Blockchain,
a hub.
Web
They've become a
3.0.
hub. Yep. So that's another reason you move over there, and I'm sure I think you told me about a few people you met and all that stuff, right? So in that sense, like, how have you been growing that space since you've been there?
It's a very, very young uh, group of people, and very mixed, but a lot of Eastern Europeans,
Mm,
huge Eastern Europeans are moving to Portugal because of the tax incentives, because Portugal isn't taxing crypto. There's no tax, crypto tax. And there's always meetups for crypto Mondays.
mm-hmm,
There's
mm-hmm.
so many clubs. There's so many blockchain clubs. There's WeFi. There's regenerative. There are all kinds of, and they're very, very um, what do you call this? Active. You know, about their, what do you call this, the group. And also what do you call there's and I know that they're like here, by Avenida Liberdad, there are a group of uh there's a lot of WeWork spaces,
Yeah.
the people who are just, they're all here. They're all working
Interesting.
together on different projects. And it's pretty exciting, because they're all, and it's funny because they're all just coming in their like shorts and t-shirts. I mean, it's like you'd never think that I mean, you'd never think they look like they're going to the beach, but they're actually here in like Lisbon. And
Yeah.
they're foreigners. Some of them are Americans, because they
Mm-hmm.
are literally downstairs from me is a cafe. They'll meet there, and they're in their t-shirts and their flip-flops and they're in crypto,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and so like 2 weeks ago I met with someone from France, because they're in crypto as well. And so a friend of mine said, oh, you got to meet these people because they're in crypto, and so they know that I'm in crypto too, right? So we met, and so they wanted to do something together. Again, one of those like, will it stress me, will
Yeah.
it I
Yeah.
had to do my checklist kind of thing. That's what I mean. If I want to get into these projects, I
Mm-hmm.
could. But I'm like, if it's too much, I don't, because there's so many projects. There are so many projects here, you know, in every, like, in not only in crypto, in everything, because um, Lisbon is growing,
Hmm.
because there's there's really nothing here, but everyone is starting everything here.
That's cool.
That's
That's
why I
very cool.
think, yeah, that's why I think Lisbon is a great place to start, because your startup cost is nothing, because it's so inexpensive here. Your startup cost is nothing.
That's cool.
A lot of Russians, a lot of Ukrainians. Oh my God, the nicest people, the nicest people, and brilliant scientists and mathematicians, crypto space.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of people in crypto has been moving to Portugal, uh, because of the regulations, restrictions, and all that stuff. That's there in the country where it's very favorable for crypto. And I feel like another thing is just like it's nice. It's nice there, right?
Well, think about it. The other thing too is, remember, the crypto people, especially the younger generation,
Yeah.
most of their money is in crypto, right? And most of them don't have that much money for living, because everything that they have is invested in crypto. And so they have to, they if they're smart, they're living in a place where it's not that expensive. And
Hmm.
Lisbon is one of those places. So they're here. But living here, even though it's not that expensive, your quality of life, you don't feel like you're missing out. You still get to
Yeah.
go out, because
Yeah.
having a beer is like, I don't know, I don't drink beer. It's like 2-3 euros. It's not going
Interesting.
to like break your wallet. You know what I
And it's
mean?
also they don't have a habit of indulging in it. So it's
Oh
not like
no, no, no.
in the
People
United
don't get drunk
States.
here. People don't get
Yeah.
drunk here. They don't get sloppy. That's another thing. In the US, people get sloppy. No, here, none of that really happens.
Yeah.
I
So
don't see.
one of my pastors, I think he went to some European country. I forgot where, but inside of the church they have a whole beer bar inside of a church, right?
Probably in UK.
I
They
don't know where it was.
No, no,
Or
no, no.
source,
In
I
the
think it was like
UK,
Switzerland
they
or like
misbehave like that. No, in the UK, they're
that's not
known to
even
be a bit.
misbehaving. I don't think they're misbehaving. They're just like, it's just a country where that's their culture, right? So they can sit down and
Okay,
have a beer. You can sit down and
that's
have a beer with people like inside the church, but if like someone is over there like going to a bar repeatedly, they'll straight up pull you out and be like, "Hey, what's going on with you? Like, hey,
that's
what's wrong
because
with you?"
not because they don't really
Like,
overdo anything.
yeah,
Most of them don't.
yeah,
There's
but
no
in
such.
America,
Yeah, no. Again, they don't even the young people here,
hmm
they don't overdo. I've never not I don't I haven't seen anybody get drunk. And
yeah,
I live where people go out. I'm in the epicenter of like where things are happening. So I get to see these people because I'm always walking around. So yeah, no. And people, no, I never see anybody like yelling or whatever. No, no, no.
that's
It's
just
really safe.
yeah. It just tells me about a lot about American culture, like how we indulge, right? Whether it's food, whether it's drinks, whether it's like caffeine, or like
Yeah,
anything that we do, like any bad habits that we have, come from indulging and
yeah. Well,
working
yes.
hard.
No, I mean, let me tell you, caffeine here. So the coffee is an espresso, right? It's tiny,
Hmm.
right? So like I asked for an abetinado, which is a little bigger, but it's not anything like in the US, right?
No,
I mean, like whatever they have in the US, that's like equivalent of like 5 to 6 of those abetinado that I have, right? And So imagine that. So people in the US have what, 2 or 3 cups of those coffee, right? So here, the people have those cafe, they call them cafe, 2 to 3 of those a day. Little,
Hmm.
okay? That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, so again, moderation,
Moderation.
right? Moderation, everything. Moderate. And by the way, their pastries here, ugh, barely any sugar. It's
Oh,
not sweet.
great.
It's not sweet. Once again, the culture, you know, it's like the bakeries, you don't, they're not out here to poison you. It's not in their recipe to put too much sugar. It doesn't matter which bakery. Sure, there's some that have the donuts, right?
Right.
They'll have sugar. But my point is, overall, in general, when you eat a cake, it's never going to be too sugary because it's not in the culture.
Hmm.
So, and they're always trying to be healthy. So you never have to be suspicious. And that already in your central nervous system, when you live in a country like that, you're not going to be on guard. Whereas in the US, I was constantly on guard. I was constantly like, should I, I have to think about everything I put in my mouth, including whatever it is. I mean, look, remember, I used to shop at Erewhon. Oh my
Hmm.
God, my accountant would like yell at me and say, "Oh my God, how much money did you spend on grocery for the entire year? That's insane." He didn't believe me. And now when I give him my receipt for the entire year, last for this year, he's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "You should have moved there a long time ago." He's like, "That's crazy." He's like, "That's all you spent?" He's like, that's 1/7 of what you spent last 2 years ago. And I said, I know. And I said, and I'm eating better. He's like, that's crazy. I think I'm gonna move there too.
Yeah, I think everybody just removed there. Like the way you're talking about it, I think I'm gonna move there too. But
I'm telling you, I have 3 people that I've convinced to move here already.
the list is only gonna go on longer. Like, I think, I think what's important is like, what you talk about just right now, right? It's in the culture of, certain things. It's in the culture, certain things. So I don't have to go on a diet in order for me
Right,
to, be a certain way, or like I gotta be that special person that's doing this and that and that and this. Well,
right,
everybody's doing it over there. So it's
right,
it's it, it's the culture. It's I don't have to look different if everybody looks if everybody around me is doing the same thing, right? It's like,
Edward.
all right, cool.
There
You
is
guys going to McDonald's for lunch. I'm like, I'm not eating healthy, and I'm the special one. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Edward. Let me tell you, you're not gonna see any fat person walking around. If you do, most likely he's an American tourist. I'm not kidding you. You will not
I
see a
know.
fat you will not see a fat Portuguese.
Yeah.
First of all, there is no gluttony in the Portuguese culture because it's a poor
Hmm.
country. They're all very, 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 very thin. Okay, all of them. So there, I no fat people. Okay, in fact, I went to a concert last night with a friend, and we were looking around. We're like, there's no fat people here. There's no fat person. Not one. Not one. And thousands of people.
Right.
Thousands of people. They were all Portuguese, mainly in Brazilians. And not one fat person. All ages.
That tells a lot about the culture, about the habits that they have.
Yeah.
It it really
And if you concerts, what do you find in concerts in the US? Crappy food.
a
There,
lot of
you have,
a lot of
well,
drinks.
there, here, you had ceviche, ceviche
Oh wait,
for ceviche.
that
You don't
sounds
have
good.
ice cream, you don't have popcorn, you don't have any of that. You had ceviche, you had tacos, you know, I mean, a bit like ceviche tacos.
Now I want to start a concert like that over here in the US. Like that makes me want to
You
do that,
know,
right? Like it's
good
there's so
food,
much
good food.
there's so much in other people's culture that we can take, I feel like, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
make it I mean, I can make it special if I like, but like that should be the lifestyle that we need to live in.
I
It's
think
not.
once again, it's up to the people of the United States to not normalize what we have normalized already, and which is not excellence, mediocrity. Seriously,
No, I
because
know I'm laughing because it's so true.
because in Portugal, in Lisbon, for example, if these little restaurants, you know, the tourists don't know this because they like to go to these fancy Portuguese restaurants. But really, the best restaurants are the ones that look so dirty that you don't want to go in there. Those are the best restaurants. Okay. And those, you'll go walk in there, you'll pay 10 euros for all your meals. And they're the best, the
Yeah.
freshest, and everything. Okay. And you'll eat the best. And they are the healthiest because they will make sure you eat the freshest fish that was caught that day, because they know that they rely on the locals. Because if they feed you something that's not fresh, the locals will complain and they'll lose customers.
Mm, mm.
Because the locals will not normalize mediocrity.
Yeah. The locals knows that
Yes,
it was
yeah,
fresh.
there's accountability. There's
Yeah.
accountability for excellence. We want
Okay.
excellent food. Therefore,
It,
you are going to give it to us. Whereas the US, there is no accountability. Give us shitty food. We don't know good food, so it's okay to give you shitty food. How many times have I been to places in the US and I'm like, I can't believe people don't know what good food is because I'm in there. I'm the only one complaining, you know?
yeah.
And
So
I'm the, I,
a lot of times it's like one of those things where people are not even if they know, they're not saying anything about it. I know people that done that, right? Even if they know that the food isn't what they wanted, they're not saying anything. Even if the food is not fresh, they're not saying anything. Like
true.
they just leave it there and they're not speaking up about it. And you hit something I want to come back on, which is excellence, and it requires what's, oh my gosh, accountability. I blinked out
Yes.
for a second. Excellence requires accountability, right? Um, so in that sense, like through everything that you've done, everything that you've accomplished, what has hold you accountable the most, so you continue to live up to that standard of excellence?
Well, I think the most important thing is being truthful to yourself,
Hmm.
right? When you're truthful to yourself, when, there's one person that you see every day in the mirror, and that's you. And you know, you can't lie to yourself. And when you tell yourself, when you say something and you don't do it, and you look at yourself in the mirror, you lied to yourself. And when you lie to yourself enough, that's how you build down confidence.
Mm,
You know, confidence is built when you continuously don't lie to yourself. You know, confidence is built when you tell yourself something and you actually fulfill that. And then you say, you see, you did it. So good. That's how you build confidence. You keep doing that. You make those deposits. And then that's how you become even more confident. Now, when you lie to yourself, that gets a deduction every single time. So there's no way you can ever build excellence when you lie to yourself and therefore you have no accountability within yourself. So that's why for me, the most important thing is goes back to you, right? Who are you? That to me is like the biggest question that you must ask yourself, because excellence starts from you. Okay?
Like essence starts
Excellence,
from inside of us.
everything starts from within.
Mm,
You know, how the world perceives you is how you perceived yourself. You know, excellence is defined by how you see excellence in within you. You know, unless you want the world to tell you what excellence is. I don't ever want the world to tell me what excellence is. I want the world to see what excellence is through me, you know, and everything else through me, because I don't want the world to tell me about me. And that's why everything starts within you, through you. Know thyself. Know thyself. Get a PhD on who Edward is. So nobody else gets to tell you who you are. Because let me tell you, there are so many people who are so ready to tell you who you are, what you must do, control you. And let me tell you, nobody gets to tell me who I am. Nobody tells me what I should do. Nobody dares, because I know who I am, you know? And when you know who you are, it's very hard to rattle you. You know, it's very hard to like shake you up.
yeah.
And when you do know yourself, there's so much freedom and peace that come from that. And so excellence will just come out of everything that you choose to do and that you decide to do. And that's why I say excellence varies from day to day for me. But I'm also in a different moment in my life, different age. And that's, I think that's what's beautiful about life. You get to be different every day if you want to be, you know, and I like to be different every day. And I think that's what makes me kind of an exciting person. And I want to be that kind of a person, because I don't want to be boring to myself either. Right. So I think that's why, you know, keeping yourself interesting. So when you know yourself, it's even more important to continue to develop yourself. It
Hmm.
doesn't stop there, you know. And I think that's what's exciting, and that's what makes me love life even more. Is when I wake up and people always say, you know, like sometimes I get these like questions and say, don't you get lonely, you know, when you're by yourself? And I'm like, no, I have so much I want to do, you know, and I I'm not a boring person. I'm an interesting person. I have so much in my agenda. How can I be boring? How can I be bored? You can only be bored if you're a boring person. But I chose not to be boring, right? That's again a decision,
Hmm.
right? So, yeah, no, all of that is a decision. All of that is who you are, who you decide to be.
Yeah.
You know, but it starts from knowing yourself and defining who Edward is, defining who Veronica is. And I choose to be excellent in what it is
Right. A
that I
lot of
choose
it.
to do.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay.
Go ahead.
Uh, I think from what I'm hearing from what you just said, a lot of it has to come from within the decision that we make on who we are, right? We get to define who we are. We don't wait for other people to tell us who we are. Actually, other people see who we are because of who we define ourselves to be, right?
Yes, people get to see who you are by who, you know, who you become, who you are, you know, right?
Mhm.
So you get to be who you are, and people get to see that.
And it's also great to have people like you, to have friends that speak life into us. So sometimes I'll be straight up. I don't see some of the things that they see. I don't see some of the things that you see in me. So I'm like, okay, that well, Veronica sees that in me. There must be something there, right?
Right.
And I start to believe because you start speaking life to me, or like other people start speaking life to me, or we speak life into each other. So it's so important to have a community also to like really, in lack of better words, hype each other up, but like not an egotistical way, but like a real way, right? Really seeing the values inside of each other and speak that out loud. I think it's so
Yeah,
important.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, and I forgot to say something about that. And it's so important to have people. And I'm not saying that, and I know I'm happy that you're part of my life, and you'll always be part of my life. And I'm happy I'm that person in your life. And it's important to have people in your life that can serve that, mirror in a way, right? Or that person that will, serve as a confirmation, or like will be there, that will just like acknowledge and validate your growth, for example, right? This is so 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 important, even for me. I miss that. I used to have Howard for that, but he's gotten old. I don't have that. I don't. I have certain friends of mine that do that for me. And it's very hard for me, for example, to find that in somebody, because it's hard for me to like have that with someone that hasn't really had that kind of an experience that I've had, right?
Hmm.
To kind of mentor me, or to kind of like see that side of me and give me that kind of a acknowledgement. But for you guys, like, you're young, and because you're and I love that you're constantly pushing yourself, but it's nice to have that acknowledgement, that validation, that you're on the right path, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because because a lot of this is like, you're walking, am I doing the right thing, kind of thing, right? And it's true. But I'm telling you, you totally are. And it's I mean, you're now 30, right?
I'm 30.
Yeah. You're so young. Oh my God. God, kudos to you. At 30, you're walking this path. I can't wait. Like, my God, when you're like 40, 50, and then for you to like bring up your daughter to be enlightened, and just be on this path. I think it's amazing, amazing. So no, I think it's so cool. It really is. And to see you grow, oh my God, from the time I met you in my living room to now.
I hope I'm a different person in, in those 5 years, right?
Of course you're
If I'm
different.
yeah, if I'm not a different person, then I'm not doing the job that I need to do for myself and for my daughter, right? That's
No,
the way I see it.
no,
Um,
you've grown into this amazing man.
thank you,
Yeah, no, no,
thank
well
you. I
done.
appreciate
Well
that.
done.
Um, yeah, I don't know
Look
what to
at you
say
with your
anymore.
own
I don't know
pod.
what's next.
Look at you with your own excellence podcast. I love it.
um,
I love it. You beat me to it.
I think this podcast is not just like, you know, I hope nobody takes it as me trying to showcase or me trying to show off, right? This is me trying to show what your potential could be. Um, the way I got out of my depression when I was younger, when I was 21, is through podcasting. Like we went to the guy's movie premiere. He's the guy. He's That's the podcast that pulled me out of the place where I had
Louis.
no, yeah,
Louis.
Louis house. His
Yes.
podcast pulled me out of the funk,
Wow.
the place I don't need to be at, right? So after learning, and that's where personal development started. That's where I started learning about different things. And after
Amazing.
all that stuff, I think I've learned enough to know that if I don't start talking about this, other people are going to suffer. And this, I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's like we all have a message to show
Yes.
other people. You had your grace of cancer, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it, to be part of that journey. But it's like, all right, what's my message?
Hmm.
Let me show the world that everybody in this planet is made for excellence, and we are made from excellence, right? I've been pretty deep into the Bible, as you know. Um, I mean, Genesis literally tells us we're made in the image of God, right?
Hmm.
We're made
Hmm.
in the image of the best excellence there is. So it's like, why are we not here pursuing excellence?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, hey, I can talk about this all day. I feel like so it's definitely like it's in my heart to speak and show other people that this is possible for everyone.
Well, that's because you have to dig to know who you are, to find your excellence. And
Yeah,
part of that excellence is finding your purpose, right?
absolutely.
And that's, you found yours. So, which is
Yeah,
amazing, and like I said, I'm proud of you because at 30, that's amazing. And you're only going to continue and keep opening the layers and layers because you know that's part of life, right? I mean, nothing, it doesn't stop. It just continues to open more doors, and it becomes even more exciting, you know.
absolutely.
And that's why life is so so beautiful. And who cares what other people think? People are always going to, like I said, it's a sick world out there. Not everybody's going to have good things to say. But like I said, when I wrote The Grace of Cancer, if only one person read my book and it made a difference, I've succeeded.
Yeah,
And it's beyond that, right? So I'm sure, will touch many, many people's lives. And, the ones that need to hear you will hear you. And that's it. That's all that matters. That's
yeah,
all you should be concerned about.
yeah.
So,
So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for being on the podcast. I think
well,
getting to
thank you
hear
for letting me be the first.
because I mean I I know from my personal experience that you have the spirit of excellence. You've done things that other people wouldn't even think to do. So I wanted to have you on just to talk about you, what your story is, how you have gone through this whole journey of everything. And I think in many senses, you resemble this message of excellence really, really well. So
Thank
I want to
you.
have you on first. Want to make sure that you get the time that uh, you needed to speak more about these things. And I'm sure this is not going to be the last time. We're gonna have
Yes,
more of these, right? So as
perfect.
time go on, we're gonna have more of these. You're gonna get back on if whether you like it or not.
Well,
You're gonna be back in here.
this means a lot to me to be acknowledged also, and yeah, no, 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 this is really nice. um because yeah, but it's excellence doesn't just happen, right? You have to work hard for it, right? It's something that you build, right? Character is built. It's not something you're born with. It's really, you're built. And I've learned that. I really have. And that's why you got to be proud of it too, right? It's like
Absolutely.
something that you wear, and because you've earned it. And I feel like I've earned it. Damn, I've earned it. And
Yeah, I
you
agree.
know, and so it's yeah, no, it's part of, it's part of something that I never thought, you know, it brings meaning to life. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
it, when you think about life and just, you don't just live it like day by day, like day, like, ah, you know, nonchalantly like that, like, ooh, um, that there's actually a reason why you're here. And, you know, and part of it is developing yourself and becoming this person. And what is that person? And then now you start thinking about what kind of person you want to become. And then some of it you have a choice, and some, this it's just you're thrown in there. And then now cancer's there, and then now you're supposed to like perform, like you're supposed to like, okay, do or die kind of thing. I didn't know, right? So you just pray to God for strength, because God isn't going to do it for you, but He's going to give you strength. But you got to do the work.
Yeah. Yep.
But God's the one's going to give you the strength if you pray.
Yep. If God's gonna show us the next two steps, but if you don't ever take that next two steps, you won't see what's coming after.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. So this is hopefully the first step to many more steps to go. And B, I really do appreciate you hopping on and saying yes.
Thank you.
I had fun. Hopefully you did
Me
as well.
too. All right. Now I'm going to watch
Thanks.
Trump's speech.
All right. I'm gonna end it there. All right,
All
everybody.
right. Bye.
Bye.